Good evening. Welcome to the 1873 TV. I'm joined here by Honorable Khupe, the Deputy President, not Vice President. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Welcome. And when did you arrive in South Africa?
Thank you very much. I arrived this morning.
Okay. And what are the arrangements like?
I came from Zimbabwe to come and be with the family so that we are able to take our dear president back home so that he is laid to rest. The arrangements so far are that we leave here tomorrow, we go to Zimbabwe, and my president is going to lie in state tomorrow in Zimbabwe, and on Sunday there is going to be a service for the MDC family where all Zimbabweans will come and gather to pay their last respects to our beloved president. And on Monday the body is going to be taken to Buhera, where the president was born and bred, where the family is, and the body is going to lie in state on Monday, and on Tuesday we are going to lay our president to rest.
You have worked with the late Honorable Tsvangirai. How long have you been associated with him?
I've worked with President Tsvangirai for 26 years. I started working with him when I was 31 years.
Okay.
When he was the Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions, and I was the Secretary General of the Women's Wing of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions.
So you're a unionist as well? I didn't know that about you.
Oh yes.
Okay.
And during that time we were two women. It was myself and Honorable Pauline Pariwa,
Yeah.
who sat in the General Council together with President Morgan Richard Tsvangirai.
What inspired you to get involved in union activities?
What inspired me was the plea from workers. Workers wanted a decent wage, they wanted decent conditions, they wanted to be looked after very well, which is what we've always been advocating for as the labor movement, to say we want a workforce which is looked after by government so that they are also able to produce and earn the much needed foreign currency for their country. So when we realized that the ZANU-PF government had deviated from what we fought for, where workers were supposed to be looked after very well, then people said, why not form a political party? And that idea was muted, and we had an extraordinary congress in Mutare which resolved that which gave us a go-ahead to form a political party. And thereafter there was a general council meeting which was held at Adelaide Acres, and this general council assigned 8 people to go and start preparing for the formation of this new party. And the 8 people were Gibson Smanda, who was the president, Isaac Matongo, who was the vice president, Morgan Tsvangirai was the secretary general, Mudzengere was one of the secretary generals, Makuwaza, who was the president of his union, Gifty Chimanikire, who was also president of PTC, Pauline Pariwa, who was the president, chairperson of the Women's Advisory Council, and myself, I was the secretary for the Women's Advisory Council. So we were the 8 people who were seconded by ZCTU to go and start the formation of the MDC, which culminated to the Working People's Convention, which then said yes. We then brought everybody else on board, the women's movement, civil society, churches, the youth movement, and it was agreed that yes, a political party must be formed. And in 2000 we had a congress in Chitungisa where a leadership was elected, and I was elected as a national executive member.
Oh, so you go long. This is a long way. Just the inception, you were there.
During the inception, I was there. Okay. Even in the interim executive, I was there.
Okay, so you've been all there, and this issue that is confusing the world, you are here not to talk about politics. That's what you agreed to, that you are not going to talk about politics, but you're just talking about this man. What did he mean to you?
President Tsvangirai is one person who had the love of his country, of Zimbabwe. He is one person who traveled the length and breadth of Zimbabwe using a car, not a helicopter. He knows the state of the roads. He knows the type of life which Zimbabweans are living in the rural areas and in towns. And he knows exactly what is supposed to be done so that everyone has a better life. So he is one person who...
So you can call him an active citizen. He was an active citizen.
He was a very, very, very active citizen who wanted to make sure that every person in Zimbabwe enjoys what they fought for, which was the liberation of their country.
You know better. There are people who say he was oiled, he had money, he had resources, and yet the truth may never be told. You know, many people get into politics, but the people outside them actually don't know the lives that you live. And on death, you discover that actually things we took for granted, we assumed about people. Actually, it's very painful even for the family.
You know, it is so sad that people think that politicians have money. We don't have money, except for those who are corrupt.
Yeah.
Politicians who have money are those who are corrupt. This is why Zimbabwe is what it is today, because of politicians who are corrupt. My president, Dr. Tsvangirai, was a politician who wanted to make sure that the cake of Zimbabwe is shared equitably amongst all the 13 million people in Zimbabwe.
How come people don't know about this side of politicians? Don't you get sometimes frustrated?
As much as we might want to get frustrated, but we are in this game because this project is a people's project. Okay. We do not want to betray the people of Zimbabwe. We do not want to betray the people's project, because the people are looking upon us as politicians so that we are able to change their lives. And this is what we want to do as politicians.
We talk of 3 vice presidents, and people don't really know what is going on. What is your position in the party?
Our position in the party is that I am the Deputy Prime Minister who was elected at Congress, and my president...
You're Deputy President.
Deputy President, was elected by Congress, and my president appointed 2 other vice presidents.
Is it vice president or deputy president?
They were appointed as vice presidents. So this is the situation.
Okay, but there was no constitutional amendment.
There was no constitutional amendment.
So there is no provision in the Constitution.
Our constitution is only amended by Congress, and National Council cannot substitute Congress. If you look at our Congress, it is clear that it is the only body which amends constitutions, and it is a fact.
So the legal and factual position is that you are a deputy president.
I am a deputy president. If you look at our constitution, it is stipulated that I am a deputy president, because in 2014 our Congress elected a president and a deputy president.
I know it's the wrong time to ask the question. If you are the deputy president, what is the provision of the constitution when the president vacates office, dies, or something happens?
The constitution is clear that when the president is unable to perform his duties for whatever reason, or when he is outside the country, the deputy president acts.
And that's you?
And that's me.
Okay. People have said you were beaten up sometime. Was it correct, or is that a correct version? That there was some scuffle?
Yes, there was some scuffle. Remember when the alliance issue emanated, it was discussed, and some of us were not very happy with some of the issues around the alliance, especially the distribution of seats and some of the things which were included in that particular document. So we decided to analyze that document, understand it, so that when we go to the president, we are able to raise issues which we are not agreeing with. And when we're in the process of doing that, hooligans came and they beat us up.
But your principled position, what is it in terms of...
Our principled position is that we are not against the formation of alliances or an alliance. Because the reason why we wanted an alliance or a grand coalition was to ensure that all opposition parties come under one umbrella, such that we have got one person standing, on behalf of all opposition parties against ZANU-PF. And all opposition parties agreed that our president, Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai, is the one who was supposed to stand. So we wanted a situation where our president versus ZANU-PF. So this is the reason why we wanted everybody under one umbrella.
Or to come under one umbrella. So when you look at what has taken place since the death and prior to the death of Honorable Tsvangirai, are you happy with the developments? You are a mother. You are also a political actor. Are you happy?
I'm not very happy, but what I'd like to say is that for now, our focus should be to make sure that we give our president a decent send-off, and everybody must focus on that. Right now we are running around, everybody has got his or her own responsibility on what they are supposed to do to make sure that we are able to take our president to his last resting place without any problems.
Okay. So I think anything that you want to tell the world and your feelings about your emotions, I think view, world view, is there anything that you would like to communicate with the world?
This is the darkest moment of the MDC family. Our president was our pillar. He was one person who held the party together. He was one person who wanted to make sure that every Zimbabwean has a better life. And we're all looking forward to him getting better so that he comes back and he leads the party to victory. But it is unfortunate because God has called him. Because when God says yes, no one can say no. But as a party, we will always remember our president. We are saying yes, he is dead, but his spirit will always be with us. And we are going to continue with his vision, that of a better Zimbabwe.
And there is a statement that was issued in your name. Can you confirm it came from you?
Yes, it did come from me.
Okay. What ignited it?
Because I realized that I had not spoken for a long time.
Okay.
When I heard about the passing on of my president, it really affected me. So I realized that I had been keeping quiet for a long time. So I had to say something to the Zimbabwean family, to the MDC family.
Okay. But you are going back tomorrow, I understand.
I'm going back tomorrow.
And the burial is on Tuesday.
Yes, it's on Tuesday.
And you are confident that you can keep this family together.
Exactly. And I am praying to God that God, blesses us, and that God, guides us as we go to put our president to his resting place.
Okay. Just a side issue. Was the constitution of MDC amended in 2016?
Our constitution has never been amended because the only body which can amend the constitution is Congress. Congress is the highest body, followed by National Council. So National Council cannot substitute the Congress.
And people are talking of a generational change, that it's time to pass on the baton to a new generation. And this issue is being raised forcefully that the demographics of Zimbabwe are in favor of the youth. And you are G50, I can say that. G40 was annihilated, and now you're left with G50. And G50, does it fit into the agenda for change? Do you think after 26 years you are the right face for change, or this should be reserved for the youth?
We are mothers. We are the ones who gave birth to the youths and the men. And for me, when you're talking about the younger generation, I am the younger generation as well. I am the younger generation as well. I am a woman. Women in Zimbabwe constitute 52% of the population. Youths, 52% of the youths are girls. So I am the younger generation as well. And when people look at leaders, you must not look at their gender, at their race. You must look at a person, because that person has the ability of running the country and moving it forward.
You've been a deputy prime minister before, is that correct?
Yes.
And you worked with President Mugabe and the other cabinet colleagues. Are you up for the job?
I am very much up for the job. I did a lot of work when I was deputy prime minister in hospitals, in schools, and I still have that energy to make sure that there's change in my country. I thank you.
And okay, thank you very much.